Okay, so we've talked about pharmacy networks, and we've talked about your relationship with your PBM and the network they establish between certain pharmacies that compete against each other, and then they compete for contracts with the PBM, and then what happens when a pharmacy doesn't get in the network and they're cut out, and how that has an impact on pricing and the benefits you receive, the pharmacies you can visit. Now I want to introduce a whole new concept um, that's established or that's came about over the last decade or so, and that's mail order pharmacy. When pharmacies set up, or when the PBM set up their networks, there have also been companies that have decided to deliver services like a pharmacy, but rather than you walking into the counter, you would actually receive your prescription directly from them from the mail right to your mailbox. They would fill the prescription and send it to you in the mail. Typically, the advantage would be if you'd get a 3 month supply for the same price that maybe you would get from your retail pharmacy for 1 month. And this business model has we are seeing how this business model works. If a pharmacy that's focused on you actually walking into their store, that pharmacy only has a patient population within so many miles, a so many mile radius, whereas a mail order pharmacy, it's really limited based on the shipping industry and how they can get stuff through the postal service or through their own independent contracted carriers. Now, where we're really seeing a big influence, well, so let's just say, well, before I get into the PBM part of it, again, remember this pharmacy network that we established, and now say that we have these independent mail order companies that are also competing for business from the PBM, and they want to, contract with the PBM for your business. So they go for contracts. They bid and bid and bid, and there's competition, and everything's wonderful. We're keeping prices low. Competition's keeping companies in check. So that's the idea. Now, what we're actually seeing is that this is not the case. Rather than independent mail order companies popping up and competing for pharmacy benefit manager contracts, what you see is, you know, this mail order company and this mail order company won't have a chance. And the reason is, and there's no real competition, because this mail order company actually is owned by this PBM. So this mail order company, say this, is we'll say, is, well, let me get my cursor, um, is actually owned by the PBM. Okay, so so by default, this is within the network, and those other mail order companies, those hypothetical mail order companies, don't have access to you because the mail order company that the PBM will ultimately go through is owned by them. So to draw a comparison, it would be like of all these pharmacies that are out there in the market, the PBM owns one of the pharmacies and then eliminates the contracts with all the other pharmacies, and you have to go to that one particular pharmacy. Um, so it essentially eliminates competition rather than creates competition. So, in the case of mail order pharmacy or PBM owned mail order pharmacy, you, the customer, again, you pay your premiums to the PBM, you pay your copay at the pharmacy, and you'd pay a copay, if you were to get your prescriptions through the mail. Um, and the mail order pharmacy, rather than paying the PBM, rather than in the form of a payment, this is essentially shared revenue. This is going to be one entity. So rather than this third party situation that's developed, now you have a two party situation with you and a PBM who owns a mail order pharmacy. So however you want to eliminate this uh, this relationship, again, you're essentially paying the PBM, and the PBM is, working through, or however you want to draw it. It's no longer a third party; it's a one and two party. Um, so you can imagine where this causes an issue. If this PBM has this pharmacy network of community pharmacies where you can shop and get your prescriptions, but now they own their own mail order pharmacy, there is an incentive for the PBM to steer you this way. Um, so this mail order pharmacy will offer you all, or the PBM will offer you all kinds of incentives. Your copay here may be astronomical compared to your copay should you choose their independent or their privately owned mail order facility. Um, Kind of cutting out any profits or anything that could be made, or any business made by pharmacy A, B, C, and D, the competition there. There's essentially no competition for this mail order pharmacy. So this is, from just a basic overview, this to me looks like a major conflict of interest when this PBM owns the mail order pharmacy. It's the payor, because they are paying for the services for you, and they are also now the provider. So the payer has become the provider. It is paying itself, and again, self-referral. Um, and to draw a comparison, there's a law that was created in the case of providers like physicians self-referring patients back to clinics that they owned, or referring a patient, when you see a patient in the clinic and you refer them to a lab testing facility that the physician also owns, that's considered self-referral. That is a direct violation of something called Stark's laws. Stark's, Starks. Stark's laws prevent that self-referral for physicians or providers. However, in the case of the PBM, the big corporation that handles your benefits, when they self-refer to their own company, it's not a violation of Stark's laws. It's just good business, and is shown to be very profitable for the company. Now, is this a good thing? That's left to debate. If this savings in this vertical integration and owning their own mail order provides you a major incentive, lowers your cost and the overall healthcare cost, then there's a good argument for that. Without competition, though, what's to say that these dollars just aren't translated to these dollars? And these are dollars going back to shareholders and the company that's trying to make profit as a PBM. So, it's up for debate. I'm putting the information out there and trying to explain some of these complex issues that we're seeing in pharmacy, and let you decide. So, it's something to definitely read up about.